Now, that you have all of these things sorted. Saili is here. She will be going over the basics of Python that are required by you, to complete this AI gaming thing. But anyways, even if you don't, want to focus on AI gaming and just learn the Python basics, if you look into the announcements tab of the Discord guild that we have, there is a ProGate course that we are, giving to all of the attendees of this event. So you, it is the course is live for today and tomorrow. In that course, you will learn the basics of Python, like the semantics of it, the loops and the conditional statements. So if you just go on to the, okay, Prajakta, your question is how to enter the bot in the tournament. Okay, yes, we will be teaching all of that. Just keep calm and join us. Okay, so if you go into the announcements tab and look at the link of the ProGate that I have mentioned, click on it, register for it. You can learn the basics of Python. Okay, someone is unmute again. Please don't unmute yourself. It creates a lot of background noise, and it makes us very difficult for us to be able to continue talking. Okay. Okay, never mind. So, Saili, I think the next step should be to, go on and teach the Python basics. What do you think? Am I missing something?
So far, so good. Let's get started.
Okay, so, for that, Saili, I think, I will message you in. Okay, so enough of that. I have told you how to register for the tournament. And okay, so Saili, I will stop sharing my screen and you can, okay, so am I missing something just before that? Am I missing? So, okay, so until Saili is about to start, I will show you a few things that you are supposed to do. So when you register for the tournament and you are in this portal, what you are supposed to do is, go go into the game. We look at the view tournaments, and here you will have two tournaments. So this is the test tournament. You have to register here, and this will be happening today at 5 p.m. Oh no, this will be happening tomorrow at 5 p.m. So, what is this? This is just to get you started, and so that you should know that how to play in the tournament. This isn't a type of a qualifying thing. So, how do you register for the tournament? You just click on it, and it will load up this kind of a thing. You click on the, okay, register tournament, and this will show up this kind of a drop down thing. So if you haven't created any file as of yet, it wouldn't show any files. But for me, I have a new bot and a dev bot. But if you haven't any bots, you can click on the create new file, and it will create a new file for you. Okay, but I have a bot, so I will select the dev bot and click on the register button. So after I have done registering myself, as you can see, it shows a tick on the checkbox, and what that means is I have registered for the tournament. So what I would ask all of you guys to do that right now is, go into this portal. first register yourself for our event. So that is the link that we have given in the our website that is over here, as well as I think we have forwarded you all of those things in the emails that we have sent. You can just click on here in this link, match games. No, in this AI gaming event code. This okay, just click on it. You will register for the event, and after that, uh, go here and look at this test tournament. Click on it, register yourself for it. If you don't have a file created as of yet, create a new file and put that into the tournament. Okay, uh, that should be the first step. And after you have created a new file and put it into the tournament, what you would need to do is just go on the editor tab, and it will load it will load the editor, and here all of the files that you have created will be listed here. So as you can see, uh, I have two files over here, that is defbot and a new bot. If you can see in front of defbot, I have this trophy kind of a thing. So what does this trophy mean? This trophy means that this bot is selected for the tournament. And so you need to take care of only the bot that is going to the tournament. So you can go in here and see whatever this is doing. Okay, so from here on, what you have to do is edit the whole thing. So if you see, there is a lot of code, and you will be wondering that, oh, what are we supposed to do? We don't know about all of that. But you don't worry, you don't have to worry about all of those things. We will be covering all the basics, and I am sure that all of you would be able to participate in the bot, and it will be a fun tournament. So I think that is it. Also, after creating if after creating this bot, the keys that we will be giving you, where do you have to put? You have to go in this, whatever bot you have submitted, even if you want to use another bot or any bot as of now, what you have to do is when you create a def bot, the code will look like this. Okay, so I have uh, changed this def bot's code, but when you create a new bot, it will show something like this. So when we will be giving you the custom vision keys, what you have to do is just remove this whole thing and put in your custom vision key over here, and then your bot will be ready to run. Okay, so that is the basic gist of all of that. And uh, you know uh, okay, so I am checking my emails right now, and I don't have anything to worry about that right now. But that is the gist of it, and I think after this, um, let me look at the agenda of this call so that I know what if I am missing something. I would need to tell you guys about that. Okay, and check the agenda here. Okay. Um, so, how to get started AI gaming? Yes, and then we have Python for absolute beginners by Siley, and then you have some awesome stuff regarding JSON and REST APIs and cognitive services by me. Okay, so that is it. So, Siley, I would request you to, take on the mic and start the Python for Basics session while I'll be, preparing for my session. Okay? Are you ready, Siley?
Yes, Ganesh, I am. Thank you for that. Amazing introduction to AI gaming.
Okay, so before Siley starts her session, I would like to give you a brief introduction about her. Even though I don't know or haven't, uh, read about what she has done or she's been doing, I can tell you a few things about her. She's an engineering student from Mumbai, and she has been a Microsoft student partner for over 6 months now, and we met like uh, 6 or 8 months from now at the Microsoft Mumbai campus, and she likes to code. And Python may not be her strong suit, but I think she will be able to give you all an amazing session. Okay, so Siley, I think I have said what I had to do, and you should take this forward. Okay,
Yeah, sure.
awesome. So I will mute myself and let the session continue.
So before we start with the session, I would like to inform everyone present here that this session is going to be for absolute beginners. So if you are a intermediate level person who is familiar with Python programming, this might like look slightly boring to you. So just sit there and enjoy the revision and brush up your skills. For beginners who are here for the first time and are willing to learn Python, make sure you put your doubts in the chat so that we'll be able to clear your doubts as soon as they reach us.
Or you can just unmute yourself and talk it out loud. We will be happy to help with, everything that you have. Okay?
So guys, just put in yes if you guys can hear us in the chat. Is my screen visible, Ganesh?
Yes, your
Can you
screen
see
is
my
visible.
screen?
Yes, your
Cool.
screen is visible.
Cool. Let's get started. So we'll be going through the Progates Python course today. So to start off with, Python is a programming language which was created around in 1989. It is a dynamic programming language and it is widely used for web development, machine learning, etc.
What happens, ID? You're mute here. Okay. So, I
Can
think,
you hear me, Ganesh?
yes, you are audible, but I hear a lot of background noise. I don't think so. I think someone is unmute here or something. I can hear a lot of background noise. But anyways, um, you can move forward your session and we will see what that is right now. Okay, so go ahead,
So let's
Heidi.
get yeah, sure. So let's start with a simple hello world program.
So you are using the Progate thing, right? So all of you who are
Yes.
here, you can use the Progate course that we have and learn all of the basics. So awesome. This is the first game. Right.
So this is the entire first program which we'll do at the end of Python study part 1. So this is a preview of how it works. In this program we are going to see if we want to buy apples and do we have enough money to buy apples. So the first question is how if you see in the result section how many apples do you want. So let me put in 2 as a number. So the output is successful. I have enough money to buy apples and I've bought apples, and I have $6 left in my purse. So yeah, that's how it works. So starting off with the basics. Let's start with a hello world program or your or hello Python program. We are going to use the print statement to the characters or strings into the console. String is basically a sequence of characters, and it needs to be put into double quotations or single quotation marks so that the Python console can understand it. So when it comes to programming languages and consoles and interpreters, we should know that when a syntax error occurs, it is not that something you have done, no? It is just that the machine does not understand what you have put in, as there are rules to what is need to be put to print a certain thing. So if you do not put quotation marks, it is going to give you syntax error because it is lost and it does not know what to do. So read the errors carefully and make changes accordingly if you find errors. Hash is used to comment a particular line if you don't need it, or just to make others understand what your code is. So here for an example, this is a comment, is made a comment here, and you're going to print hello Python. So if you would like to see an example, I've already written print hello here. So we can also make use of uh, the parts which are given here by Prograde to put in values. So for example, and submit your code, and you'll see the answer right here. Let's keep going. Now that we have done our first Python program successfully, let's go to integers. Integers are positive, negative numbers, natural numbers, whole numbers. So we can add these numbers, subtract, do arithmetic, use arithmetic algebraic expressions on it, and work around it for calculation purposes. So the difference between strings and integers is strings are characters, whereas integers are numbers. With string, you cannot perform calculations. If you put print 3 plus 5, it is going to give you the result in the form of integer as 8. Whereas if you put it in the form of strings with a quotation mark or double quotes, the output will be printed as 3 plus 5. Let's see how it works. So we have to print 7. So when print 7 is given, we'll see the output is 7. When we print 9 plus 3, the sum of 9 with 3, which is 12, will be displayed. And when we put 9 plus 3 in a form of string, it is going to give you 9 plus 3 as it is in the output. Slightly more about calculations are multiplications, divisions, modulo which you can use for multiplying, dividing, and finding the of like getting the remainders. So 9 by 2, 7 into 5, and 5 modulo 2 are going to give you 4.5, 35, and 1. Talking about the variables, what is a variable? Variable is something like a container to store a value. Let's say you have a jar of cookies. So the jar of cookies is your variable, whereas the cookies inside the jar is going to be your value. So here the variable is name and John is the value of the variable. The values are also known as data in Python. So how do we define a variable in our program? We use variable name and we use a is equal to operator, which is not equal to but it assigns value to the variable. And we can use the variable to print the value in the output console. So here we are asked to assign a variable name with a value bob, and we are asked to print that name as an output. So here it is, name Bob is assigned to name. We are printing name. Similarly with numbers, number is a variable and we are assigning 7 to the number and we are printing it down. So there are a few conventions when it comes to how to name a variable. When you are writing longer, larger codes, it is not convenient for you to put variable names like u1, u2 for username and user2, or n1, n2 for names, or t1, t2, because it you won't be able to recall what that t1 and t2 was if you look that program after 6 months and try to refer it. So it is recommended that you use variable names like data for data, username if you are using username somewhere, or price if you are working with prices. Also, the names are supposed to be separated with an underscore. The convention says do not use lowercase or camel case for Python, but it doesn't matter if you do, it won't throw any errors as such. So, why are variables so important? Because they'll help you to label your data and understand the code better. So, these are a few examples where the variable is length with the value 5 and we are calculating area such that length into length is going to give us the output of area of square, that is 20. So let's do a short exercise and see whether that works or not. So here I've created apple price as a variable with its value 2 and apple count as a variable with its price 8. So when we multiply this, we'll get a total price, and bingo, there it is. So this is how we update variables. what if I have a box with 5 chocolates and I want to gift Ganesh like 20. So am I going to give Ganesh the same box? No. Ganesh is asking for 20, right? So I'll be adding few more chocolates to it and then giving it to Ganesh because Ganesh likes eating chocolates. So that is how did someone unmute and is willing to ask a question? Hello? Okay, cool. So I'll be continuing. So so that can be applied to variables as well. So if you have defined a variable as 5, but you want to increment its value or change its value, you can do it in the following ways. Like x is equals to 5 here. So if x is equals to x plus 3, we'll be able to update it to 8. So finally the result will be 8. Here are a few examples of how variables can be updated. As we saw previously, we did x is equals to x plus 3 there. So the shorthand or the shortcut to do it would be x plus equals 10. And following is the table for all subtraction, multiplication, division, and plan. Let's see a short example. So here money is 20, so we are going to print money and we are going to increment money by 50. And the result will be 70, and here it is. Let me show you the shortcut. If you work it this way, it works fine too. There you go. Going ahead. To string concatenation. As the name suggests, concatenation means joining two things. Here we are going to join different sequence of characters together to form a sentence or a phrase. So hello, for concatenation we are going to use plus operator. So here we are going to print hello Python. So print parenthesis open hello plus operator Python. So hello Python will be printed in your console. Similarly, it goes with variable. So your string plus the variable would give you the required output. Let's see an example of it. Here we have a variable assigned Bob and we'll be printing it using the concatenation symbol, and there we go. And it shows I am Bob. And here we complete our part 1 with Python study. Let's talk about type conversion. So what is type conversion? So if you want to print the integer value in the form of string in your sentence, we use type conversion using str function. Str, when you put str price, the price which was previously in the form of integer will be printed in the form of string here, as you see, and it gets printed on your console. As we can convert our integer values to our string values, similarly we can also convert our string values to our integer values. So if you have a string like your count is 3, 3 here is a string, we can convert it to an integer value with int function, int count, and it will convert the 3 into an integer value for calculations, and the total price will be calculated. And here we have the answer, 300. Let's see a short example. Here the age is 24, but the 24 is in the form of integer, and I want to print it in the form of string. So here I put print I am string str age plus years old. This is going to convert the age, which is int, into string format. Similarly, the count 5, which is character, is going to be converted into integer, plus I am adding 1 to it just for fun, so that we can see that it is converted to integer and the calculations are working fine. So here it is. Here we have our output. I am 24 years old and 6. So here we complete our data types and variables part and going to the control flow. What is control flow? It there are a set of conditions which are going to help you to satisfy the condition and give outputs accordingly. For example, if you are a part of Teams, only then you will be able to attend a meeting. So you being part of Teams is a condition for attending a meeting. Let's see a few examples and how do we use control flow. So we are going to use if statement for our first example. Here the score is 100 and I want to print good job. Good job will only be printed if my score is going to be 100. So here I want you guys to see that equal to sign is used as an assignment operator, whereas double equals to is going to show that the score is equal to 100. The syntax is as follows: if score equals 100 colon, put a few indentations because they are very important, and print great job. So if it's 2, it will print, and if it's not, it will just leave the output part empty. So if we want to print something which is not equal to, we use exclamation and equals to sign to say it is not equals or negates it. So here we have a few calculations, and if x equals to 70, print x is 70, or if y is not equals to 40, print y is not 40. Here we have assigned x is equal to 7 into 10. So x is 70 will be printed on the output console, whereas y is equals is y's value is 30, so that would not be printed. Let's see. Yeah, see, y is not 40. Quickly moving forward, we are here at booleans. Booleans give us true or false values. So if the fan is on, the value of what value is true. If the fan is off, the value is false. Similarly, we can also use your for score. If the score is 100, the value is true. If the score is not 100, the value is false. Coming to the comparison operators are used to compare two variables values for calculation purposes. So we have less than equals to, greater than equals to, less than, and greater than signs for comparison. So for example, 2 is greater than 6 is false, and 4 plus 2 is greater than equal to 6 is going to be true because it is an inclusive value. So we just discussed this part. Let's go ahead. So x is 10. Here we are going to see if I can buy an apple. So x is 10, and if x is greater than 30, I am going to print yes that x is greater than 30. And in the second part, I have money, which is 5, and apple's price as 2. If the money is greater than equal to apple, only then I can buy an apple. So here, let's see how it works. Yes, I can buy that. We just saw if statements. Let's go to else statements. Usually, if the if statements are not satisfied, the program goes to else statements and runs it to give us the output. So here the score is 50. The score was supposed to be equal to 100. The if statement was not satisfied. It goes to the else statement and it prints you can do better. Let's see how it works. So here money is assigned $2, whereas uh, apple price is 4. So can I buy the apple here? No, because the value is not greater than 4, right? So the output is going to be you do not have enough money. Coming to the else if, you can use else if for multiple if statements. So elif score greater than equals to 60 and print not bad. Similarly, you can use multiple elif statements in between. Let's see a small example here. Again, here the amount of money which I have is true and the apple price is also true. If the money is greater than apple, only then I can buy the apple. If, which is else if, the money is equal to apple, you can buy an apple, but my wallet will be empty. Or else I do not have enough money. Let's see how this works. So as I have $2 and the apple price is $2, I can buy the apple, but I won't have any more money for further buys. So we can use and conditions for combining two or more like conditions rather than going into multiple elif loops. So here, if we are using and operator for our condition, then for the if statement to run, both the conditions are supposed to be true. If they are not, the if statement won't run. As we see, the and is a logical operator. If first value is true and second value is true, the output will be true. Else, for all the other cases like true and false, false and true and false, the value is going to be false. But for OR operator, it is not the same. If either of the condition is true, if statement will run with the required command. Here, if any one or both the values are true, the if statement will perform its operation. It will not perform operation only if both the values are false. Not. Not is negation. Condition means if it is not something, then it will print the value. Here, the R is 9. If not R is equal to 12, that means if the R is not equals to 12, then print not known. So the R is 9, which is actually not 12. So it is going to print not in the out. Let's see a short example. So here I am going to be using and an OR operation and also the negation condition to see if the program runs. So x is given 20. The first condition that we are going to check is whether x is in between 10 and 20. So if it comes between 10 and 20, we are going to print x ranges from 10 and 20. For y, if y is equals to 60, and we are going to check if y is less than 10 or whether it is greater than 30. So here y is greater than 30, so we'll be printing the value, and also for z we are going to check if it is not 77. So here is an output. So from the 15th section, all these sections are for the attendees to complete, so I'll be continuing with part 2 now. from shopping app
Yes,
onwards.
yes.
I
Are you asking me something?
No, I am just I am not asking anything. I'm just saying that from the part 15, the module is for the attendees to complete it so that they can practice, and if they have any doubts, they can ask me later.
Okay, okay, yes. You can always go into the Discord server and ask any questions that you have. So we will be there to, answer all of those things.
Yeah. So, giving my mic to Ganesh to continue with the further session. Thank you, Ganesh.
Thank you. So for the further sessions, we have a special person amongst us to take care of all of that. So we have here Aditya Chopra, who is also doing engineering from, DJ Sangvi College in Mumbai, if you know where it is. Also, he has been an MSc for 1 year almost, but he was not able to do many things, and he wishes to accompany us in this event, so that I have invited him to talk about JSON stuff. So, what is JSON? What is a JSON object? How you can use that object in the API calls you make. How do you read that stuff? What is an JSON object? He will be discussing all of that. So Aditya, if you want to go ahead and just go ahead, just do that. Okay, unmute yourself and start your presentation.
Thank you, Ganesh. It's lovely to be part of this session. And
Welcome, Aditya.
a good afternoon, everyone. I'll be going through JSON, and I have prepared a presentation for all of you. So I'm going to share my screen now.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Let's.
it is getting okay. Yes, it is visible now. I can see myself booming.
Yeah.
Oh, so your presentations are visible now.
Yeah. So let's start. So we are discussing about JSON. Now, JSON has a certain structure so JSON has a certain structure which differentiates it between other data structures that we have. JSON is basically a way of storing and exchanging data over the web. And usually you see that most web servers and APIs, they return their response in the form of a JSON string. Now, JSON object has this structure where we open and close the data with curly braces, and every value inside a JSON object is in the form of a key value pair. So you can see here that name, age eligible, address, hobbies are all key names, and the values associated with those key names are the values. Aditya is a string value, 22 is a integer value. Then we can also have Boolean values and null values. In Python, we don't have null. Instead, we have a keyword called none, which is you can say it is kind of interchangeable. It means that the value is null. Then we can also have arrays. So my hobby is that he has three values in the array right now. We have cricket, coding, and cycling. So this is a JSON object. Now we look at a JSON string. So JSON string is basically a string object, a string. Sorry, it's of a string type, and you'll during your AI gaming event, you'll have to often uh, know that how to convert objects to strings and strings to objects. So a JSON string here, so the JSON is a package in Python using which you can interchange between these strings and objects. So here I have defined a variable JSON string and using the dump function. So there is a dump function, JSON.dump. Using this function, you can convert a JSON object to a JSON string. And as you see over here, we had this object here, and now after I convert it to a string, it looks pretty much the same. You'd say that there doesn't seem to be any difference. But you notice that the address here was none, and now the address has changed to null because JSON treats the none keyword as null. So as I said, it is interchangeable, but you have to use none in Python. And otherwise, you say that everything looks the same. But the only difference is that this this thing over here, it's a string, but what you saw here, that is an object. And even to check that, you can even frame the type of the variable and you see that it is string. Next, this is not so. I included this slide only because I wanted to show you that uh, you might. I got confused earlier about the syntax for a set and an object. So a set is basically there is
Hey, Aditya. Uh, I have read a comment here saying that your voice is not clear. So, can you try a different position for your mic, or maybe use a different mic? Okay.
hello. Is my voice clear
Yes,
now?
this sounds way much better now. Thank you, Aditya, and thank you, Sridhar, for letting us know.
Okay. So I was talking about set. Now set is no way related to an object, a JSON object. But I just wanted to show you that the curly braces shouldn't confuse you. In a set, the curly braces are there, agreed, but there is no key value pair. There's only you only put values inside a set, and a set is like a collection of unique values. So just wanted to show you so that you don't get confused between a set and a JSON object. Going ahead, again, I'll so there are two. As I said, there are two functions available in the JSON package. They are JSON.loads and JSON.dumps. JSON.loads helps you convert a JSON string to a JSON object, and similarly for dumps, you do the same thing, vice versa, a JSON object to a JSON string. So going ahead, I have examples for both here. There is a variable var3 which I've declared as a string. So the reason I've put three quotes here is because I've used single quotes inside my uh, JSON strings. So you you have to either use double quotes outside or triple quotes. It has to be different from what you use within the string. So again, so this is now this is so before on this slide I had declared this as an object, but now I'm declaring it as a string. And I'm showing here that using the loads function, this string can be converted to an object. So this is this is the code I've written, and this is the output. So var3 is a string, as you can see here, and var4, which is json.loads var3, is a dictionary. So JavaScript objects are stored as a dictionary in Python. The dictionary is the data structure in Python, which helps you store JSON objects. Then we have json.dumps. Json.dumps, this will let you convert a JSON object to a JSON string. So it's just a game of understanding that it's just about two things, right? There's dumps and there's loads. So according to your use case and your situation and the problem you're solving, you'll have to either change an object to a string or a string to an object. Next, so yeah, this is the code over here, and the output of this code uh, you can see here. Again, address was declared as none, but when you convert it to a string, it becomes null because JSON treats none as null. And again,
we have converted an object data type over here to a string data type. Finally, finally, it is important to know that there are certain primitive data types that are allowed to be used in JSON. So you can have a string, you can have a number, you can have a Boolean, or you can have a null value. So these are the 4 primitive data types that you can have. Of course, you can also have lists. You can have lists which can be a list can have all. It can have either all string values, or it can have a you can have all integer values or float values. So yeah, these are the 4 primitive data types. Next we have, okay, next this is basically to tell you that when you are printing your output, it could be that it won't be very readable, because the response which is sent by the web servers during the AI gaming event, they can be really long strings, and you might find it difficult to read that output. So using the indent parameter, you can make your output more readable. So before that, what if you want to first create an object by yourself, and then you want to convert it to a string? So as I said, objects are stored as dictionaries. So you define, you initialize an empty dictionary, my dictionary. Then you assign a value, you assign a key value pair. So my dictionary key name equals to value. Then you define another key value pair in your dictionary list, with the value which is a list, and it has values first, second, third. Now I'm converting this to a JSON string, and you can see the output over here. And you'll notice that, so indent parameter basically gives indentation to your output, makes it more readable, prints the values on different lines. Right. So this was my code over here, which I converted to a JSON string. And see, my print statement looks much more readable now. I'm having key name value on a different line, a list on a different line, and all the values inside that list on different lines. So this looks more readable, and is basically, I would say, for your, so if you find it difficult to read JSON strings, you can use the indent parameter, which is helpful. Yeah, so that's all from my side. I hope if you have any doubts, please ask me about JSON.
I guess they must have understood everything. While there was a question in the chat asking me about what is a JSON, what is the difference between a JSON and a Python dictionary. So I told them that JSON is a serialized data type object that is used to share data over the internet. While Python dictionary will be uh, a data type which will be only understood by Python. So you can't use that to communicate with a Java program. I think that was correct. And then nobody has any doubt, but Weber was telling that can you repeat some previous thing like Json Dumps? So can you go ahead over that quickly?
Okay, JSON dumps. So when you want to convert your JSON object to a JSON
Basically,
string.
I want to ask that
Hmm.
whether we can convert Python dictionary by the use of JSON dumps to JSON files, JSON type.
Yes, so if you'll see my slide number 11, here I've manually created a dictionary. So my dictionary is something which I'm initializing on my own. So I'm creating a dictionary first, and it has 2 key value pairs, key name value. So I'm converting this dictionary to a JSON string now. So you can see JSON text equals to JSON.dumps, and then I include my dictionary over there, and I even give a indent parameter, which is optional. So yeah, so is your doubt clear?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so waiting for the most interesting topic, are you? Okay, so I am going to discuss, all of the things, basic things that you will require in this AI gaming tournament, and quickly brush up on the things that will matter to you when you are participating in this. And I will not be doing much of the programming stuff, but I hope you understand all of it. And if you have any problems understanding any of it, just let me know, and I'm sure we can work through it. Okay. Um, so I am sharing my screen right now. Are you guys able to see that? Hey, if anyone can just let me know. Okay. I'm not looking at the chat, so
Yes,
that
sir.
will be
Yes, sir. Visible.
okay. Okay. So let's start. Mm, okay. So I will be going about all over the AI gaming basics. So let's just introduce what it is. So we'll go into the intro. So what am I going to cover? All of the things that you require in a basic AI gaming tournament. So you will require some Python basics, which is already been taught by Sairi. She covered almost all of it. You would need those things. Then you will need JSON stuff, that is like whatever data that you receive from the cognitive services. You have to parse it in a way and utilize in your bot. Okay. So, and also, if you don't know what is a cognitive services service, I will talk about it. Okay. We will get to know about it and what are the different types of cognitive services. We will also talk about that. And I'm not going to bore you for long. This will be a quick succession of things, and I hope to keep it entertained. Uh, okay, so enough of talking. Let's go on to the next thing. So, Jason, uh, my friend Aditya already did that, but I anyways made this presentation, so I will just go on to the things that I have made, and I will not go into the programming because Aditya has already done that. So JSON structure, what the hell it is? This is very easy. You don't have to worry about it. If you see this picture, this was me trying to understand JSON at the first time when I first thought it. Okay, so it wasn't that hard. It took me like 15 to 20 minutes to understand that. So let's start. What is it? So JSON is basically, a data type which is used to transfer data over the internet. So, you know, um, you write programs in specific programming languages. Like some of you might be comfortable with Python. Some of you might be comfortable with C++. Some will say that Java is my favorite language. But while you are communicating over the internet, you don't know what type of programming language is used by the programmer, which is at the other end. So you need some type of a serialization. What do I mean serialization? I mean, it should be in a generalized way, which I can send in and the person who is receiving can read it. So we have to serialize in that way. So uh, how do you serialize it? So JSON file structure is very easy. We just have a few data types like string, number, Boolean, true or false. Then you can keep a data type null, or it can be another JSON object which can have all of it. And then there is an array. Now, if you look at the data type that I have over here, it is just the 10 line of kind of thing, but I have covered almost all of it. So, the first line, all of that is a key value pair. So if you want to access any object, you need to provide the key of that object. So if I want to access this data over here, what I have to do is I will call this object the root object, and in square brackets I will name the key of it. So data. Okay. that will lead to me that will key is kind, so I will put in the key as kind, and it will return me this data. But if I put in the key as data, this will return this object. Okay, so I will again have to provide a key to get that data representatively. Okay, so I'll be back. Someone is banging my door. Okay, please forgive me for a few seconds. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Again, we go again. So what I was talking about, that if I pass in the key as data, I will receive this object over here, which has another key value pairs of things. Okay, then we have a number. We can easily pass in as a number. So if you see in this data object, we have a key name as number, and before these two contains numbers. So it can be anything. One, a decimal number, a hexadecimal. I'm saying it wrong. A number, uh, you know, uh, decimal number, negative number. It can be anything. Okay, and then we have a Boolean type, so you can pass in like true or false inside of it. It is supported by it, and then it can have another object in it. So as you can see in the root object, if we pass in the key, which is named as data, it has another JSON object. So a JSON object can be embedded inside another JSON object. And then the last data type that we have is an array. So if you look into my root data structure and go inside the key of data, and inside that I have a key named as children. In that data, I have a array. So in that array, I can pass in any of the data type that I have, but I have kept it, empty to make it look easy and nice. Okay. When I have written a code with which we will be accessing real, what do you say, JSON data. So there we will learn more about it. Okay. Moving on to the next topic. Uh, REST APIs. So, what are REST APIs? So, you might think that these photos are, they don't have any value, but they have some value. This guy, which is over here, his name is Roy Fielding, and he was the one of the, forming members of the HTTP whole thingy. So, these guys wrote how HTTP works, all of the things, all of the internet, most of it is made by these guys. But this guy, Roy Fielding, who was also a part of HTTP documentation, he is also a guy who wrote all of the REST principles. So, what is a REST thing? A REST is representational state transfer. So it is nothing else but a paradigm. What do you mean a paradigm? It is a way using which uh, two computers or two devices can communicate with each other using the HTTP protocol. So if you know HTTP protocol, it is just a request response model. I send in a request, the server sends in a response. So using that principle, we can write APIs. What is API? API is just a application programmable interface. You should know. If you don't know about it, don't worry. It is just a way with which uh, two devices can communicate with each other, and I can use some other devices capabilities. That is what is an API. Okay. And what is a REST API? REST API is an API which is written over web, internet, so that I can use capabilities of a device which is somewhere remote from us. So all of the internet things, websites, they work on REST APIs. Hope that makes it clear. And then let me tell something more. So, what are REST APIs? As I said before, they are based upon HTTP request response model. They most probably use a JSON structure. So, all of the data that you receive is in JSON, and it depends upon the methods of HTTP. So if you know a little bit about HTTP, it has different methods like get, put, post, delete. You use these, methods in order to describe what kind of a request that is. So if you put in a get request, the server will send some data, and if you put a post request, you are telling the server to create some data. So you need to pass in some data with that post request. The same is the case with put request, and the delete request is used to delete some data from the server, or whichever computer or device you're accessing. Okay, that is the gist of it. And more than 70% of the APIs that are now written support JSON, and that is, a very old data that I have talked. And this is, the number of Stack Overflow questions regarding JSON XML CSV. So as you can see, JSON is rising pretty strongly, and all of the other things that were used before, they are declining. Okay, so, and what is this icon? This is Node.js icon. I like to write all of my web APIs using Node.js. If you don't know anything about it, don't worry. You don't need knowledge about that. Okay. I think, and then cognitive services. So they play a huge role in this AI gaming. So what are cognitive services? So uh, cognitive services are provided by Microsoft in order to openly make available their artificial intelligence tools. So obviously every big tech company like Google, Microsoft, you name it, Amazon, they have some artificial intelligence tools. They make it available to public using different names and branding, and Microsoft does that with the name of cognitive service. So cognitive, it names itself means like it is something related to brain. So if you can see the logo over here, this is you know displaying some kind of brain. So let's dive in. What is it? So what type of cognitive services, like artificial intelligence services, does Microsoft provide? So there are five different types of services available. Vision APIs, in which you can see things. If you have a photo, you can scan through it and recognize what is in it. And then there are speech APIs. So if you want to make apps that recognize voice and understand what you are saying, and those kinds of stuff, we have speech APIs for that. We have language APIs if you want to translate one a sentence into another thing. And then there are decision APIs. You don't have to worry about all of it. I am just naming them so that you would know what it is. The only thing that we will be using in this AI gaming thing is Vision API. For that, okay. So how can you use these APIs? So the basic method of using all of these APIs is using REST call. So you can just make a request to this server that, hey, this is my data. I want a get request from you. So that server will understand. Okay, you want some data. Here, you have it. Take it. So it works over the HTTP principle. So you don't need to have any software installed. You can, do these calls using your own browser, or if you have a REST client installed, such as Postman or something. Okay, you can use that. Or also there are SDK specific packages. So if you are developing for Android, maybe. So if you have ever developed for Android, you have to add in those implementation lines in that Gradle files. They might have certain packages for them, and you can use that, and you don't need to write a REST API for that. Okay, and that's how you use cognitive services. And let's move on to the cognitive services that we will use in this, tournament and AI gaming thing. So what will we use? We will use vision APIs, as I have said. So in this AI gaming game, it is a game of cards. So there will be 32 cards, and these 32 cards, there will be 16 pair of things. So each card will be turned down, and it will have something on its face. So um, you have to draw two cards at a time, and whenever you draw two cards, you have to use the cognitive services and see whatever is on the face of that card. So you have to understand if it has a bird, or if it has Taj Mahal on it, or it has some text written on it. You have to use the AI provided by Microsoft to understand what's on it, and then you have to make sure that you note it down somewhere, so that you know what is on the card. So while doing this process, if you find two cards that are of similar value, so you took two cards and both of them have the same bird, you get points. Okay, that is basically the gist of that whole game. You don't need to worry about it too much, but I told you how it works, and the sessions we will be having tomorrow, as well as the links that we have provided you in the website. If you follow it through and look at the tutorials which Stephen has given you, and as well as try to understand the Python basics which Siley has taught you, or if you don't understand that, you can just go to the ProGet resources that we have provided. There are so many resources to learn from. I know this is a small amount of time, but this is not something that should take that much amount of time. We have already dragged it till 2 days. Okay, so enough of talking. Let's just dive into some code and make a REST call to let you guys understand what is a REST call. Okay, so coding time. Okay, so I will zoom out for this from this thing. Okay, are there any questions in the chat? If I'm missing something. No, no, everybody is saying that very clear. I am great to hear that. Everything is so clear to you. So, okay, let's dive into some code and understand whatever it is. So, you can do this on a personal Python installation if you have one. How do you install Python? You just go onto python.org and download any one of those clients. I would recommend you to get the latest and the greatest. Okay, you can pick that up, install it, and run it on your system. Or if you don't have a Python installation and don't want to mess up with your system, what you can do is go onto repl.it. If someone from my team is there in the chat and just post this link of repl.it, you can go over here and it will load up a thing called this. Okay, so this allows you to code in any language that you want. So you don't need any installation, you just need an internet connection and go onto this site. I want to work with Python, so I will click on Python, and it will automatically create an environment for me. As you can see, I'm booting up. Awesome. So my Python installation is ready. I don't need to install anything. And if I print in an hello world over here, boom, I have written my first line of Python code without installing anything. Okay, so this is basically how it works. Now we were here to do some REST calls. So I will just keep this thing here and we'll share it with you guys at the end of this call so that you guys know what is it, and then REST call. I will create a new REST call .py file, and in it So there are numerous ways which you can call a REST API in Python, but the easiest way that I think is using the request module. So how do you use that? You port and import and then write in request. So you have that module over here, and then you can just call in, request dot get, and you just pass in a URL, and it will create a GET request. Okay. And if you want to create a post URL, you can just request dot post and paste in a URL over here. Okay. Or if you want to do a delete request, you can do. Okay. This is the basic gist of it, but there is a sample dummy site, what do you call it, dummy REST API example, and I just found this site today. So it provides a REST API for us to, you know, work with it. If someone there is from my team over there, just paste in this link in the chat, dummy.restapiexample.com. So you can go over here, and as you can see, they have a few public APIs listed. So this, if you go over this URL, it is slash employee, it will give you all the employee data. So I can show you this over here. As you can see, I go in here with my browser, it returns me all of the employees data. So this might not make sense to you from a browser, but if you are writing, suppose, an Android app, how would you access that data? You wouldn't, use MySQL APIs to write in an Android app and get the data from a MySQL server. You will make a REST call to this, endpoint, and it will return to you this data, and then you will show it in your app. You know, I don't know if that makes sense, but I will just move on from here. Okay, I will just copy this link and go into this file over here. I will name it as REST URL and paste in this URL. Okay, and response.get REST URL where where I'm using where, so don't worry about it. Variable name equals to response.get request.get. Response is equals to request.get, and you pass in a URL, and that will return you, obviously. You can print over here whatever response you get. Okay, response.json. And oh damn, I am running this. How do I run this? Oh, rest call. Boom. Then I don't know what is happening. Okay, so I will just paste in this in the main over here, and it will run all the same. Okay, so if I click in run over here, uh, it will go ahead and make a REST call and return all of that data. So that is what we have to do in the AI gaming tournament. You have to take the card, see what is on the face of it, make a post request to the cognitive services, pass in that image data, and that it will return this kind of a JSON data in which it will describe what it has found on the card. So you can read this data that you will get, and play the game. So I don't know. I think I have made my points clear. Let me see if I am missing something. Oh, I am missing a post request. So as you can see here, uh, we already made this get request. Okay, so we pass in an URL, we made a request.get, and then we printed the response. But what if you want to send some data? like in the AI gaming world, you wouldn't, request something from the cognitive services. You will pass in that image as a request, and that service will receive that image. It will process on it, and then it will return you the results of it. So how do you pass in that data? So again, you will have an endpoint, like just something sort of, you will save it as a URL, and then you will have some data. So here I have a sample JSON data which I am converting it into JSON using JSON.load and making a JSON object, okay? And I am using data is equals to JSON object. But over there, you will pass in that image, and it will result in some results. So if I just run here, as you can see, it has returned me some garbage results. You don't have to worry about it. As this is a dummy API, it doesn't mean anything. But right there in the real world, when you are working with AI gaming, it will return you a nice, pretty result, which you then have to parse and understand what is in that result. Okay, so I think this is all, for this session of mine, and so I think I made everything pretty clear to everyone. And if you are in the call, and Ali has joined the call. Hi, Ali. If you are hearing me. Oh, Ali, are you not hearing me? Am I not audible? Hey, let me know in the chat section. Did you understand whatever I have taught you? And yeah, if it is all understandable for all of you guys. Okay. And Ali, unmute yourself to talk. You are muted if you are there. Okay. So I think he's not there. He's just in the meet. Never mind. So Ali, are you there?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Ganesh.
Yes, you are finally here. So I was just, I was just making sure that I didn't miss anything. And this was one. Sir, can you please show the code again? Yes, I will. I will share the REPL with you guys. With you guys. Uh,
Yeah. So just practice today, and make sure that you're familiar with JSON, you're familiar with for loops, you're familiar with all the little concepts, because for the gaming tournament we are going to require all of it. I hope you have registered on the portal, and if you have, that is great. If you haven't, the link was provided earlier in the session, and it is also provided in the Discord. We will post it again soon. So just make sure that you are able to kind of run that programs, and you're able to kind of do the basics. Yeah.
okay. So we are done with Python basics. We are done with JSON. We are done with some little codes over here. Uh, Let me look at the agenda and see whether if I'm missing something. Okay. Uh, all of you guys, just, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in that Discord server that we have, and stay connected with us. And Ali, do you want to say anything?
So I just want to say all the best, everyone. Um, let's see what you make. We are very excited to see, how you guys create your bots and how you compete with each other. About Azure credits, have you distributed the coupons,
Oh
Ganesh?
no, we
No,
haven't
sorry, the
done
keys,
it
the keys.
yet. No, we
Oh,
haven't done it yet, but
oh,
in the next 13 to 20 minutes, 20-30 minutes, we will do that, so that you can, use the keys, code your bots, and enter the tournament.
yeah. So I guess you explained the AI gaming portal, right?
Yes, I did. Uh,
Okay, so
mm,
that's there. We will put in the keys for you guys to get started very easily and quickly. So no need to worry about that. Discord is always on, so just participate in the conversation there. And if you have any doubts, we are there. So don't you need not worry about anything. Just put in your queries, and we will be more than happy to help you out individually or as a group.
okay. So all of you guys who are participating in it will get a certificate from us, Microsoft Student Partners, and you know, to the top winners, I don't know if we can provide something, but uh, I'm sure it will be an amazing learning experience from all of you guys, for all of you guys. So I think it is time that I end this session. Ali, Saili, if I am missing something, do let me know.
Now,
And
I guess it was a good session and everyone enjoyed it and they understood it. Okay.
okay,
And that's great, I guess. So for the winner, I had specially some gifts from my side as well. So as an MSP, also we have some amazing swags, and also if the winner is from Mumbai or nearby place, we would be happy to ship him that special goodie. But that is very surprise. So just win it to get to know it.
okay. So great to have you guys here. I will end this meeting. Me, Ali, Saili, all of us are available in the Discord. My username is Gas76. If you have something urgent, you just ping me. I'm almost always online. And bye. It was great having you all with us. And we hope for a very great event next time around. Bye, guys.